And we are wrestling with WWE Fastlane. It was last Saturday. Um, it took place in Minneapolis, Minnesota, at the Gainbridge Fieldhouse, in attendance of 14,529. Just for reference, this is around a 17,000 seat arena. They're on the higher side of a sellout than AEW's Wrestle Dream, which was 7,000 and 17,000 seat arena, I believe. Don't quote me on that. Just watched last week's episode. Um, that being said, what did you think about the show, Kaliko, as a whole?
Uh, I mean, I told you these PLEs are good. They don't, they don't really miss. Like their worst ones are usually pretty solid. So I give WWE the benefit of a doubt when they're actually trying to continue a story through PLE and they don't have to worry about commercial breaks as much.
What are you talking about? They still have commercial breaks.
I know, but I'm just saying it's frequent. Because keep in mind, they were doing commercial breaks during matches. This one, they could actually kind of, commercial breaks as the promos, which is bullshit. I'm like, yo, bring back the network.
Doesn't seem like that's happening anytime soon. It's kind of odd to say, but this was only a five-match card, and watching it, I never felt like it was maybe less than another PLE, or like I was getting shortchanged on an event. The quality was there when it came to the actual performance, I felt. That being said, this was a more than likely a two-match card. And the first match, the last match, and I didn't necessarily agree with everything that happened in between. But we'll get into that when we, do the individual matches. And that brings us to the first match, and that is Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso defeating the Judgment Day, Finn Balor and Damian Priest, to claim the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championships in 20 minutes and 40 seconds. This match, in my opinion, was WWE in 1999, where you had two faces come together. You didn't really know why they came together. It wasn't really, they didn't really have a reason to come together, but you still accepted it and still wanted to see it because they were the two biggest faces in the company coming together. And I felt like it worked. I liked the match. I liked how things were put together, and I thought it was a really solid way to start the show. What say you, Kaliko?
What do you mean you don't know why they came together? You know damn well why they came together.
What I mean is, you know, they're not a tag team. It's just putting the two biggest stars in a tag team so people pop. That, that's kind
No,
of what I
not
meant.
really. I think it's going to get a little bit more complicated than that
You're not wrong.
because there is a certain tag team who's looking like, oh hell no,
Jimmy
and
and Jimmy and Solo.
no, just Sammy and Kevin.
Yeah, but they had the match on Monday.
That's true, but I just think it's going to get a little bit more complicated with them involved because now they have something that Kevin and Sammy want.
True.
So now this is where complication gets in because they already don't trust him, and let's say eventually Jay and Cody are gonna lose the belts. Jay might have a mistake in this. I'm just speculating. Cody is like, what the fuck, man? Thus him having to go his own way. Now, granted, it's something to keep that thing going, unless they can use that as a way to split the undisputed tag title. Because
But
eventually, it's gotta go.
on Cody's side of things, I do feel like there is more of an agenda than initially expected. Oh, yay, I'm helping Jay. Or, you know what you get when you get the tag team championships. Well, you get a ticket back onto SmackDown. Who's on
Yes,
SmackDown? Roman Reigns. What does Cody need to finish the story? The WWE Championship.
I don't think his story's with Roman though. That's what you're telling her. His story is not with Roman. His story is with Seth. Jay's story is with Roman.
But that brings us to another interesting point that Scooter brought up not too long ago. Have Jay be set for the World Heavyweight Championship, something that Roman could never do, beat Seth Rollins in a big match, and have Cody defeat Roman, and then have The Rock and Roman at Mania. As crazy as it sounded at the time when he said it does seem more like he was speaking it into existence the way things are playing out right now. You know what I mean?
I don't. I don't see the reason I don't see that happening is because on Raw they have this big wild card, Mr. Money in the Bank, which can spoil all of this shit. So that's why that's the only reason I don't, because that wild card is bigger. Like I see the path for Jay, Royal Rumble, Mania, boom. I see the path for Knight, Royal Rumble, Mania, boom. Cody is gonna be, it's gonna be a little bit different. I'm not gonna lie. Um, Seth, he's watching his back because Damien's gonna get kicked out. Point blank. Period. I see it coming. He's getting kicked out. It's either him getting kicked out or Finn getting kicked out. One of them are going to have to go. And to me, I just see that Money in the Bank briefcase is a bigger play, especially with Priest and the way the Judgment Day lost the titles, all that withstanding.
Well,
So
Damien has the briefcase until July of next year. We could essentially get past WrestleMania. Whatever happens in WrestleMania season happened, and then Damien cashes in, and whoever had the championship wins the chase after Mania into SummerSlam. That could be a possibility, no?
it could, but my issue with because with the Judgment Day being on top of the world and now they are kind of dwindling, he's going to use the only thing that he can to regain what he wants, aka leadership. Because technically, there's kind of a battle for leadership in that group, and more people are going with Finn, and it seems like Damien's on the outside looking in. But what better way for Damien to be the leader than to cash in and be the champion and kick Finn out? So it's one of them two are gonna have to go.
I see what you mean, And if this was the Vince McMahon format of storytelling, you would probably be right. It's gonna be sooner rather than later. But also keep in mind that Jey Uso and Roman Reigns was a story told over 3 years. So it does
The-
seem like they're taking, their good old jolly time with telling this story and letting it breathe.
oh
And
yeah, but don't get it twisted. Uh, that little nugget of Rhea Ripley in the back talking to Drew McIntyre.
yeah,
See what I'm saying? Like it's gonna be slow, but I'm just saying one of them are gonna end up going. I don't know how soon, but it's bound to happen.
that being said, how many stars do you give Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes defeating Judgment Day for the tag team belts?
I give it 3.5 because it essentially felt like the match Sammy and Kevin had with them, minus the crazy shit, and yet somehow they won.
I give it 4 stars. Everything worked for me. I like the match. I like the crowd reaction. It made sense to me.
It makes sense.
All right, now we got a 6-man tag action. We got Robert Lashley, Angelo Dawkins, and Montez Ford Honda. Um, they took the L to Rey Mysterio, Santa Escobar, and not one of their other LWO members. Not what's their names? Senor Chavez or Juan Pablo. But
Joaquin Phoenix, or is
not
it Hollow? I can't remember. One of them.
not them. Not Joaquin Phoenix. He wasn't there. Um,
Yeah.
it was but Carlito Caribbean Core. This this match, if Cody and Jay got the guys the crowd going, this match kind of sucked the air out of the building. If I'm being honest. And then the only thing that really saved it was the pop that Carlito got. Um, but what say you?
Pretty much, but it's just I think it's more trying to get the profits into that heel mode that they used to be. It's just a build. So them taking the loss, it looks like okay, they're just trying to come as a unit and be cohesive, right? So I mean they'll bounce back.
My issues wasn't with the profits. They've been doing some decent heel work as of late. My problem maybe is that people don't necessarily want to boo the Street Profits. Or,
They can't.
and
I
if
mean,
I'm being honest, people don't really want to boo Bobby Lashley at this point either.
why would they? It's pretty much. I think that's like the only prominent black folks on TV. I wouldn't want to boo them either. Shit. I'm just keeping it a buck.
You know, it was a really odd match, and I hate the fact that Carlito was put in this position. Basically, you're Mexican, I'm Mexican. Let's be tagged together, which I always hated the WWE logic of that.
It wasn't Mexican, Latino, sir.
Well, what?
Latino.
You're Latino.
Latin. Latin world order. Not Mexican world order.
Well, you're Latino. I'm Latino. Let's get lattes together.
I don't think that's how that works, but okay.
I don't fucking know. We are not what is it? Politically correct on this show. How many stars do you give this?
Two?
I think, and like honestly, it's kind of generous to give it out.
Damn. I can't hate on the profits. I can't hate the profit. Profits are my boy.
I like the profits too. All right, triple threat for the women's championship. Um, Io Sky. She had on that form there was a Dakota Kai with a Bailey here, with a Bailey there, Bailey everywhere. Io Sky. She defeated Asuka and Charlotte Flair to retain her championship in 17 minutes 20 seconds. Um, I don't know, but the talent in this match was bar none fantastic. The quality of the match kind of seemed like it was lacking. It felt like there was just nothing really clicked. There were unnecessary botches, and it was just magnified by the fact that it was 17 minutes. What say you?
I think it's yeah, because it was just them two. Three people that normally don't fighting, so I, you could tell it was kind of like a chemistry issue there. So, I mean, and then you also add in language barrier issue. So, chemistry issue with them not really knowing each other, the language barrier issue as far as calling the spots, and that's what you got, right? Um, Bailey trying to come to her defense, and EO starting to get tired of that shit,
Right.
and that's gonna be where does Bailey's um helpfulness is no longer helpful for that group.
It does seem like her helpfulness is maybe intentional to get the belt off of Io. And that's kind of where the rivalry is at this point. Going, I should say. All right,
Well, we will see. We will see.
how many stars you give this?
Uh, Not their best, but a three.
I'll give it 2.5. All right. Then we got an appearance by Pat McAfee. Always good to see him hyping up possible WrestleMania in the city. That's ever gonna happen? Probably not. And what's led into John Cena and LA Knight defeating the Bloodline, Jimmy Uso, and Solo Sikoa with Paul Heyman, and also 17 minutes and 20 seconds. What say you, Kaliko?
The perfect way for that match to go out. The right people won. Um, and it actually did what it was supposed to do. Jimmy's trying to show that he's the man and failed.
Right.
Roman's had to come. Roman coming back. It's like, what the fuck is going on while I'm gone? So that's what it was supposed to do. It was basically a reason for Roman to come back and set shit straight.
I felt like the match itself made me feel like we were back in 2010. And when it comes to WWE in 2010, I hated that shit. It was a generic John Cena tag team match, which I absolutely hate. But that being said, you're absolutely right. The right thing happened at the end. LA Knight came in, he hit the finish, he won the match. John Cena tried to put his hand up. He was like, "No, I'll raise your hand." He's got the rub. He's giving the rub to Cena essentially. And honestly, I just loved all the interactions between them and how the match ended. Um, Between then and when the bell rang originally, everything that had John Cena in the match, no, hated it. Garbage 2010 wrestling. But everything with LA Knight, 100% right thing to do. Hey, how many stars you give this?
4.
I give it 3.5, simply because of the ending. Then we have our last match, the main event, the thing everybody wanted to see. Seth freaking Rollins defeating Shinsuke Nakamura in a last man standing match for the World Heavyweight Championship in 28 minutes and 25 seconds. Your thought on the match?
Pretty violent, although this match would have been better if it was a redemption for not for Seth to win the belt back. But hey, can't have it all, right?
You know, aside from the fact that, I obviously really wanted Nakamura to win the match because, Nakamura never held a world championship in WWE. Logically, the match didn't make that much sense to me. Nakamura actually did have him at one point in the match when he fell off the when he threw him off the ladder into the announcing table. If you look at Seth's feet, he was not on a vertical base. His feet were not touching the ground. He was just upright. Your feet have to be on the ground for a last man standing match to matter. And that logical little hiccup on WWE's part really took me out of the match. And then the fact that he put Nakamura through two tables, he used the tables to get himself up, but Nakamura didn't. Another little hiccup that I just found somewhat irredeemable in the grand scheme of the whole match. If those two little things didn't happen, I probably would have been more okay with the match. It wasn't a bad match. It was definitely more on the unique side when it comes to last man standing. But that's kind of how I feel about it. Anything you want to add?
I mean, I get your point there. Not knocking it. So I mean, but to me, Seth should have been the challenger in this match. But then again, we had that botch before. Remember with the Roman KO last man standing match.
Right.
So I mean, it happened, right? So you can't say the last man standing match they had that same issue. Kind of need to fix that. Whoever produced the match, but uh, I just wish Seth had a salty injuries the next night or the next two nights over. But
Right.
I mean, that to me is where it kind of loses me. It's like you went through a war for 2 days and you're coming out like you're fresh. No, you need to show that you went through the wear and tear, that it actually like took something out of you that's
Um,
going to take a while to get back.
he sold the injury more on the last match that they had, but that was just like, a normal one-on-one match. But the excuse me, the match that was more brutal, that match he didn't sell at all.
Hence my point.
Right. But, miracles do happen. Um, I do remember them popping Rey Mysterio's eye back into his head, and he's been able to see just fine since that match. So, good on him. Hey, how many stars do you give this one, Fuka?
Um, 3.5.
I'll be a little bit meaner and say three, just for the fact that those logical issues really bothered me. Alright, the show as a whole, thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle.
I mean, every sans two matches, everything else was kind. I mean, sans one match, you could give it a thumbs up. So thumbs in like 3/4 ish, up on the upside.
I am going. I feel like even if I give it an Orange Cassidy thumbs up, it's still maybe giving them too much. So I'm firmly on the stance that I should give this a thumbs in the middle. It was a bit of a mess for me. Right. I believe that will conclude um, this episode. Of course, thank you for listening. If you like what we're doing, please like, subscribe, comment. We're on YouTube and Castbox. This was sponsored by Rogue Energy and Pale One Coffee. Join us this Tuesday as we interview Sigma. Join us this Wednesday as we interview Lily La Pasquerita Louise. And follow the show at Wrestling with E, but on Twitter, well, I should say X, Instagram, and Thread. For information on who we're interviewing, when we're interviewing them, links to those interviews, and so much more. Follow me personally at JamesJ993. Where can I find Kaliko?
I am Kaliko, and I hope TMZ doesn't release any of my videos of me auditioning as the backup dancer for Becca.
For Kaliko Yachts and Scooter Dust, I'm James J, and this has been Wrestling with Entertainment.
Hey, folks, this is the Colossal Mike Law, and you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment. Enjoy the show. Support these guys. We appreciate it very much. We'll see you at ringside.